Chapter 13. Immortality.
Time doesn't let itself be conquered. It either conquers, or becomes an ally. People of great strength make friends with it, they don't care about time, compelling all to cross and interlace. By praising its passage, they end up galloping together, on everything around them. All people access this sympathy, but it is rare. And why is it rare? Because there is no patience. Between the imagination, and working to get it, grows a power the size of the world. Between the glimpse and the becoming, grows a power the size of time. Humanity can conquer the world, but time will never be conquered. Now, we are what in the past we imagined being in the future. But the imagination was not ours. It was a glimpse of the future, which is now present. When the universe was formed, it was hot. When the solar system was formed, it was hot. When the planet was formed, it was hot. When people fall in love, it is hot. And then, everything cools down. Just the novelty, just the creation can bring new fire. The feeling of lack of novelty is the mother of all suffering. The novelty always exists. However, we are rarely able to distinguish its significance and magnitude. To do this, just be quiet, still, rooted, firm and silent. But only on the inside. The secret of longevity is the following. We can take the time or not, when we have a lot of time on our hands. And, also, we can take it or not, because we have a lot of time on our hand. This longevity even spills over between sentences. However, the flower waits for the bee to pollinate. The egg waits for the hen to hatch. The nail waits for the hammer to nail. The earth waits for the position of the sun to rotate. If something or someone waits for you, time will be relentless. If nothing or no one waits for you, time wants nothing to do with you. If time wants nothing to do with you, you cannot exist in space. Be careful with what you wish, for to be mortal is to be human. If I were immortal, I would live dangerously. Because how dangerously mortal I live, is my essence immortal? The present is among the sum of all the past, and the preface of all the future. If a person masters the past, and makes it present, time does not pass by, this keeps the soul's youth. But you can risk living in the past, not enjoying the everyday mundane, becoming an immortal, but prisoner of the self. The secret to abundance and prosperity is letting things degrade first, until they cease to be functional, and only then innovate. In this way, the coveted and rich novelty is obtained. All things have their course in time, when time is allowed to erode things. However, be aware, all at once degrades time. All at once ends time. This is the infinite zero, the all-encompassing paradox. Time is the relationship between things. There's no time to waste time anymore, not even time for uselessness. But how? When the relationship between things is the legitimate and compulsory utility. Oh yes. Uselessness does so well. To take an existential walk and such. Sometimes we don't even notice, like a race, is the life we live. Hurry to finish school, hurry to get a job, hurry to buy a house, hurry to have kids, hurry to execute projects, hurry to be useful. It seems that whoever gets to the end faster, is the one who will win. But whoever quickly comes to an end, quickly becomes useless this way. Is the end to be useless? One thing I will never forget. It's better to eat the dessert slowly, and savor it, than eating in a hurry, and having the tummy ache I had. We scheme the idea, that we are travelers in the landscape. Instead, let's imagine that we are the landscape, where time is the traveler. How much more soothing is this idea? When we are children, time is immense. 1 year takes a long time to pass. However, when we are old, time passes quickly. If we lived 500 years, we would subjectively feel 1 year going much faster. If we lived 1 billion years, then we would feel 1 year pass, as 1 second passes in our current subjective and temporal referential. Finally, if we lived forever, 1 year would be an infinitesimal unit, in such a framework. Just a moment. Like this. This is proof that our souls are elderly. To verify this, it is necessary to discern the moment. One day, I went for a walk in a fictional Mesozoic forest, with my imaginary friend. We found a ranger who warned us not to go near the Araucaria, because it was time for the pine cones to fall, and being the size of our heads, they could hurt us. He also informed us that it's expressly forbidden to feed the Tyrannosaurus rex. So we only saw the T-Rex from afar. We said, "Good morning," and he waved. Suddenly the volcano on the site exploded and erupted. Cracks opened in the ground we were walking on, and lava began to come out. My friend died right there. I didn't die, because it was an imaginary volcano. The universe has tools for thinking, to work on immortality. An olive tree gives 100 olives, take no more than 99. People say you are very good, don't take more than good. If it's not sustainable, it doesn't last. And if it doesn't last, it doesn't sustain you. But you'll always be on time to appreciate your past. As it was, for any moment blown by the wind, after a decade or so, you too will say, "It was a good time." Even though the moment has gone numb because of the pain, let's hope the past is more enduring than the present. Nature with capital N is my creed. And walking through nature is the mass I attend. It doesn't tell lies, and reveals everything it takes, for whoever is present, which can be a lie for those who are absent. The sage is present and learns from nature, while the people are absent and learn from the wise. To be a wizard, one cannot always be, because without the mundane he will find no foundation. The drama of what is vulgar, that's where the wizard gets its strength. This is funneling, and accumulating. Becomes a magician, the common guy, when time is his ally. Returns to the people, the wizard, when space is the tool. At the end of a long healthy life, what difference will it make? If the spell takes effect many years later, or right after a brief moment. Why is time the magical matter? Because, for building a castle you can use clay and stone, but for the block to settle, only time is used. Also, for a plant, when it gets manure, it may even manage to grow prettier, but without time, the best soil is worth nothing. By knowing the irrefutable future, we would live without the choking anxiety. We would appreciate the ineffable here and now. After all, this is what we are looking for. After all, this is what we want, when we're thinking on changing the future to our liking, for the well-being to be achieved. We fantasize about being there, sometime in the future, in a place where we are going to live that moment. We get excited about the future, and with all the technological advancement. But when we get there, we will feel as we feel now. Technology being part of everyday life, and despite all the change on the exterior, the interior will be proportionate in harmony. Equal at the ratio of previous interior states. The exciting future only exists in the present. We feel more excited when imagining the future than when we live it. In the same way that the exciting future of the past, we live today. The exterior is the archetype of what is observed, always different. And the interior is the archetype of the observer, always the same. If we were immortal, we would live dangerously. As we live dangerously mortal, could it be that our essence, in addition to being elderly, is also immortal? They claim that I have immense vitality, but it's not true. Tired, I was born. Shall I rest, to live an immortal life? Shall I spare myself, to live an immortal life? No. We are all immortal already. In truth, we are striving to live a mortal life, since the moment we accepted the deferred eternity. Did you notice that writing, in addition to being a form of memory, is also a methodology for magic? When you remember, when you read the world's notation, something appears in your life. When you don't remember, it disappears from your life. The coherence of our bodies emerges from the gravitational force. This is the dimension of matter. The limitation of reason is to assume that causality operates from the past to the future. This is the intellectual dimension. To travel through dreams is to open the spiritual dimension. And making the absurd lucid condenses the divine dimension. All these dimensions form one. There are no borders, if we look at it from there. But if we look at them from here, they have borders. This is magic. The bigger numbers make us distract from the detail. From units to hundreds, the dynamics differ in quantity. Individual attributes are lost, but others are won for the community, as the number of elements increases in the group. This is the emergence, or hatching of extra properties. That is, magic. Before, everything was a miracle and magic. Then, little by little, we started inventing other words, for the things that miracle and magic occupied. We left these words aside. The word miracle and the word magic. However, they still exist, and that's why we are obliged to give them meaning. Its meanings are everything that the other words are not. For they to happen, we think it's possible just in a certain fantasy, while the other words become what they are, precisely because they are miracles and acts of magic.
Thank you for listening to the end. Support this work if you liked it. You can buy the book on Amazon, where you can download the digital copy and have the physical book delivered to your address. Look for seasonal promotions and discounts.